Winning this, we'll probably see more of a game with Rhinos against Burn than we saw with Burn and 4-color / 5-color. Hey, somebody better clip that. Swift Spear did enter the battlefield untapped and not attacking. Somebody can clip it. Tell me I was wrong from earlier. So that going to be going down to 18. Has fetch, grabs, a triumph. Other players end up moving over, so we do have some matches to kind of hop into in between. And make sure I'm doing the right life totals here. So dead gone. Gonna get cast in that Swiss sphere. Zach missing a land drop. Kind of has like all the connector cards to the cascade spells, but without that second land, really going to be struggling. A suspended Rift Bolt. So no skewer this turn to be afraid of, but we're probably just going to get spiked. We're going to take a damage from our land. $18 to $15. Oh, a land is probably going to have to be shocked and potentially decides not to suspend the Rhino. This matchup with no creatures in play, I think it's a decent choice not to shock that in. You're not going to ice down anything. If you're trying to ice land, you kind of get bolted in response, so it doesn't really do a whole lot for you in this spot. So just save your 2 life instead of icing. Okay. That's 9. We're dead to a lot. We are dead to more than 50% of his deck. So he says at this point, man, I'm just gonna cascade. I think Zach's just gonna ask him and be like, man, if you got a burn spell, like you probably can just go ahead and do it. Believe there is a Searing Blaze in the hand. It's okay. Can't spell. So again, not on these guys. Don't want to miss their game. So yep, they started already. If totals are not correct. We got back just in time, chat. Look at that. Swift Spear entering the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Both players are set to 18. Not entirely sure. I don't play a whole lot of burn, nor play against it a lot. But I feel like it's kind of a tough matchup for Rhinos in the regard that like your best thing to stop it is a force negation, and you don't feel necessarily great about that. And Brazen Borrower bounce from hand doesn't also feel that incredible because like the creatures normally have haste. So like you do get to negate some damage at times, but other times you don't. And it kind of sucks. But Zach Swift Spear comes in again, where it's kind of a check to see if Zach budges and does anything. You could Brazen Borrower bounce to make sure the skewer doesn't get cast for 1 in terms of the free damage, but now it's able to. Maybe we'll see it come up, but it looks like we're just going to get a fetch, probably for a basic, might shock in with an Eidolon follow-up. This is going to get subtletied. I feel like it almost has to. I don't think you want to let Robert get a free 4 damage from you casting your cascade spell next turn. For Rhinos, one of the biggest things that you do with your game plan is you make it hard for burn in terms of the fact that like once you bring out your Rhinos, they're not generally able to ever attack you. But also, along with that, your attacks kill your opponent incredibly quickly. We get a Shardless Agent here. It is an artifact, so things like Smash could technically kill it if Robert decided that was the game plan he wanted to go with. Not sure that would be the game plan he will go with, but he could. Let's take a look. Here comes some Rhinos. For 3 mana, we put 10 power on the board. Sorry, chat. Got a message I had to respond to about work. What? Why did my timer just... Hello? That timer can calm down. Okie dokie. So it's a swing here. Block. Most likely it's going to get Prowse 5. We have 2 Lightning Helixes in hand for Robert. Robert's going to be able to go up to 20. But this is going to get burned in response to the Prowess trigger. So Zach's going to get Helix, go down to 12. Robert's going to go up to 20 to then find himself down to 12 as well. So it's a tight ball game. One player has a lot more power in play, but another player doesn't really care to have a lot of power in play. Janini, you have a question. I may have an answer. Not entirely sure, but I think there Zach could have let that go in order to just cast its Violent Outburst and make more Rhinos and just like ensure that you kill Robert next turn. I think worrying about your Shardless Agent being alive is like a little much, but you also did get to kill the Swift Spear, so it's not coming back and swinging at you. What is magic? You've been in here a lot to ask what magic is. I don't believe you. You didn't say first time chatter when you said you have a question, so you've had to have been here before. Which wouldn't lie to me. Lightning Helix coming down again. I don't know if this is actually at a creature or if this is at the face. That face, which I would assume. So another 3-point life gain swing in terms of that. But Rhino's bonking on the noodle for 10, along with the Shardless Agent, puts us all the way down to 5. So, attack trigger, reveal land. We're going to cast this. Cascade, put more power in. Robert's like, I can't beat that man, so I'm just going to pick him up. Which makes sense. Where Burn can find itself in a tight spot. Now, I want to be known that I pulled the thing up to change that. I just didn't hit Control S to save it. Whoopsie. I pulled that up earlier, didn't, and I just didn't hit save. And if it makes you feel any better, there was an entire round where I didn't have the timer up. So I'm gonna lie and say I'm new at this, and that's my excuse. No Swift Sphere on turn 1. However, 3 damage still hits Zach in the noodle. Yeah, see ya. Glad you stuck around for the stream. Hope you have fun in whatever you're doing, unless you're going to bed, and I hope you rest well. Or you're waking up for your work day, and then hopefully it ends quickly. You know? But thanks for watching. Always appreciate anybody that hops in and watches. Eidolon. Decent 2-drop. Robert's on a little bit of a slower hand, but that kind of happens whenever you mulligan. You kind of have to take whatever 6 you're given if it has lands plus any spells. Because a playable 6 is better than a lot of 5s in burn. Even if your 5 is really, really good, a lot of times you just won't have enough spells in hand because, again, you're down to 5. So we're probably going to see a land here. A pass. Just see what this will end up getting. Or Zach. Mainly if we have a basic forest in the deck, which I believe we do. We also have a force of vigor to blow this up for free. I would like to see that happen now. You know, Robert's on 3 cards in hand. Or you can just take the 2 and wait it out, see what happens. But I assume force probably gonna get fired off, but you don't want to get blown out by the rolling vortex either. So taking the 2 might make the most sense now that I've talked myself into it. 14. Spike. All the way down to 11. That's a deflecting palm in hand, along with a Boros Charm. We're going to see a Boros Charm on instep of Zach's instep after he cascades. Most likely. Can't imagine Zach doesn't fire off the force here, especially considering you want to try to cascade next turn. Which gets fired off. We pitch the Rhinos. It's going to take way too long to get there. We're just going to take 1 from his land and then deal Zach 4. Zach had to fetch. He was at 10, so now he's at 6. Spike and a deflecting palm. So Zach is in range. You could have technically saved Eidolon with Boros Charm, right? Leave your. I always forget that that's a mode. Yeah. I accidentally closed this window, so I'm not sure if it's going to work. Yeah, I accidentally closed it. But Boros Charm, if you're unaware, because most of the time burn casted against you, it deals 4 damage. Target player or planeswalker. A permanent you control gain indestructible until end of turn, and target creature gains double strike until end of turn. So there's 3 modes actually on Boros Charm, although like a lot of times you don't see all 3. But he could have cast Boros Charm, gave his Eidolon indestructible, and then got the 4 damage and value off the cascade spells. Yeah. Brazen Borrower, the saddest boy of them all. Cannot bounce your own permanents. Brazen Borrower says return target non-permanent a opponent controls. So deflecting palm is going to actually close the deal. Deflecting palm, preventing the damage of a source and dealing it back to the other player. No worm coil to deflecting palm.